So hello, welcome back to episode number 18 of the Road to Cheltenham Challenge. And Andrew Blair-White, in the words of Clement Clark Moore, "'Twas the night before Christmas." Absolutely buzzing. What about yourself?
It's hard to. I have pretty important college stuff on at the moment, and I'm an absolute passenger in lectures. I'm just like, you've got the screen on, Zoom maybe on, and I'm on the Racing Post website in behind. It's hard not to be thinking about Cheltenham, and hopefully, anyway, by tomorrow we'll have started back in a couple of winners.
What's the feeling, Andrew Blair-White? What's your feeling about your book on the Road to Cheltenham Challenge?
Gee, well, it was a heavy week of sadness, as I'm sure we'll get on to. It was looking so good last week, but look, there's still a few decent prices in there, and we just need one of the big ones to hit. And we've had a good week, so that's what I'm trying to convince myself, that it's still all good. But yeah, no, there were a few heartbreaks, as there was for yourself as well midweek.
We're not going to bring down the tone. Just want to, I suppose, thank everyone who has, played a big part in this series up to date. We've as we said last week, we absolutely really enjoy it. We had to put on a bonus episode today, and just to mention as well, for our Cheltenham preview night, we had some crack recording that. Andrew Blair-White, Mike Vince was in the hot seat, went down a treat. He might have to stay there.
Oh, it was super. Yeah, it was absolutely super. I had a lot of fun that night, to be honest, because it was right on. Like, it was good in terms of that, you could lay a few gloves on each other, and all the guys, me and you always lay gloves on each other on a Monday afternoon doing this. But when you add in Mike, Davey, Ronan and Tom, it was all good fun. And I hope people enjoyed it. And as you said, I'd echo what you said about this series. Everyone's been brilliant. It started off, I'd say there was only 1,500 people regularly watching. It's now up to 3,000-4,000 every episode, and loads of people involved in the comments down below. So we can't thank you enough. It's been brilliant. And to be honest, I think, Barry, we're going to have to come back by popular demand next year.
I think so, Andrew Blair. That's if Up in the Ante don't sign you up. But in fairness, I think after last week now, I think I'm safe enough. But we'll say as well, just on the preview as well from last Thursday, fantastic. I think we got over 14,000. Now, I know the demand is there, but 14,000 views was phenomenal for that. As I said, we've broken the milestone as well. We've gone above 1,000 as well for subscribers. So it's onwards and upwards. And on the eve of Cheltenham, Andrew, we decided, what are we going to do for this show? And we were just chatting about it before we started. But what we're going to do is, because we know who's riding what tomorrow, which is Tuesday, we're going to actually go through the card tomorrow very quickly. We're going to give our selections just as quick as we're going to give our selections for the whole series as well. And then we're going to come on to the good stuff and get our final selections in. But I suppose, starting with the Supreme Novices Hurdle, me and you were on the preview night last Thursday. So a lot of people, whoever would have tuned into that will know our thoughts on some of the key races. But we've handicap races, the Mayor's, of course, race as well. So we've a little bit of extra to go through. So we'll start with the Supreme Novices Hurdle. Andrew, you were a big appreciative fan as a bumper horse. He's done absolutely nothing wrong over hurdles, even though we thought that potentially he could be a Ballymore type early in the season. He has stuck at 2 miles. He was impressive twice now over the minimum trip in a grade 1. The field has cut up completely. Will we even have 8 runners? What will the each way terms look like tomorrow? I presume you're appreciated all the way.
Yeah, I think the fact that it's only an 8-runner race takes away from your usual kind of supreme hustle and bustle that you might even be a little bit concerned by. I think it's fairly point and shoot. For pleasure, if Alex Hales will go out in front, appreciated, will track him, and I'm hoping Paul Townend sitting there with a fistful when he goes past that horse turning in, and I think he's got enough to be able to commit him early enough and maybe draw the sting out of some of the other horses. Maybe Blue Lord to chase him home for Willie Mullins. I know Patrick Mullins gave him a good shout out today after riding a winner at Punchestown. So maybe that was a 1-2, but appreciated, I think, will get us favourite backers off to a very good start.
What way is the race going to shape? Would it potentially set up for a closer coming late? The likes of a Ballyadam. Soaring Glory is a strong travelling type. Delighted to see him run. He will be my selection, he is my selection, but you'd be hoping to get the 8 runners as well, and he could be good each way value, I think, at 9-1. Coming on to the Arkle, Andrew Blair-White, the 155. Almine Kind, he's rotten. He's absolutely rotten, according to Davy Boland. Can anything get near Shishkin at this stage? I don't want to even mention what happened last week because I'm trying to keep the positive side out. Captain Guinness, on the other hand, for yourself, I think he's as big as 7-1. He is Blue Baron, Andrew, and that'd be a bit of a story after all my Arkle chat during the week. But look who's 40-1.
Good old Eldorado Alan's still in there.
Western Warhorse-esque.
Yeah, well, who'd have thought throughout this whole challenge that we'd end up getting to the Arkle and both Captain Guinness and Eldorado Alan were 2 of only 6 runners.
They're in the top. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I think Shishkin's very hard to beat. There's no getting away from that. If I was having a bet at the race at the moment, I'd back both Captain Guinness and Franco de Port without Shishkin and take 2 darts at getting All Mankind beat for second. I think you could do that. Obviously, if something happens to Shishkin, then who knows? But like, I have backed Captain Guinness at bigger prices. I'm glad it's only 6 runners. He only has to come in the first 3 for me to be collecting each way, which is good. He's the type of horse now that will go and fall at the last when in second, because he does tend to do something stupid. But hopefully he runs well. But to be honest, I can't see the favourite getting beat.
At this stage, you'd have to think he's. You'd have to think he'll get the multiple backers off to a good start. So coming on now to the ultimate handicap chase. Happy Go Lucky has come in for an awful lot of support. It's really hard to oppose him, in my opinion, in this race. You know, I thought he could be potentially a 4-miler or a National Hunt Chase type horse, but he comes in here off a rating of 147. He's a course winner. It's hard not to like him. Ran a cracker last year, of course, in the Martin Pipe. Had you thoughts on this race?
Yeah, I think the favourite's got a massive chance. He's very similar preparation to Imperial Aura, and it was a little bit like Imperial Aura last year, where the favourite and potentially the winner is staring you right in the face. I like Right in this. I think he's a very, very solid each way bet. If you can get 6-7-1 about him, you can currently get 6-1. 5 or 6 places. He just won't be out of the frame, to be honest. He's probably vulnerable to less, an unexposed sort like a Happy Go Lucky, but he'll do his job out in front. Richard Johnson's on him, which is no bad thing, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if he was to cause a bit of an upset. He does deserve to get his hands on one of these big 3-mile handicap chases, and it'd be good to see a smaller trainer such as Harriet Graham in the winner's enclosure.
Yeah, the ground obviously, it rained overnight last week. It's a pity we don't have Mike Vince on for this. He loves the weather updates. But with the ground potentially to go back to good to soft tomorrow, am I right in saying that that's the way you will have good in the description of tomorrow on day 1? I don't think there's any more rain forecasted. I thought Pim was interesting here. I liked him as a novice chaser, just at a bigger price. He's probably the one I will play. I think Happy Go Lucky is plenty short now for it. I'll probably play Pim, I'd say, at 12-1. His best form is on a sounder surface. Good to soft will be fine. He won at Cheltenham, as I said, over in a novice chase. He actually bet Imperial Aura in a novice chase over 3 miles. So he's a course winner. Will like the ground as it dries. I see there is a bit of support from him as well. He has been off quite a while, but it'd be nice to see the horse run well.
Would you give any chance to your perennial kind of Tyestes / Paddy Parr Cliff horse in this discordantly? I've began to warm to him in this, I must say.
Yeah,
he's got a bit of a squeak.
Well, you're looking at drying ground for Pim. I think he'd want it as soft as it could be, discordantly. There is certainly a big one in him. He's off a reasonable enough weight as well. Robbie Power up. So yeah, he's just let me down, hasn't he? Enough times discordantly. You probably click if you were to go on him. But looking at the champion hurdle now, 305. Honeysuckle, Epatante, Goshen. Is it between the 3? And you weren't loving Honeysuckle for a champion hurdle last year. It's gas how you've done the full circle.
No, yeah, exactly. Look, you've got to sometimes admit you're wrong with these things. I did with the Nergamine halfway through the year, where you've just got to admit you were wrong. I thought last year she scrambled in the Irish champion hurdle. She was much better this year. I think she takes a lot of beating in this, getting the 7 pounds. I wouldn't think it's just a 3-runner race, though, at all, to be honest. And I know William Hill are paying 5 places, and to be honest, you can get, I think, 10-1 Sharjah on William Hill at 5 places. I just can't see him not in the 5. Like, I think the race will be run to suit. Strong early fractions, more than likely. 3 or 4 confirmed front runners in there. I'm hoping Honeysuckle does the business, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if Sharjah was to run a big race and fill the frame.
I will be siding with Goshen. He is my final selection. I think he's potentially the superstar in here. And we just have to forgive his early season form. That's what I'm doing anyway. So come on, Andrew. You've won in here in the Mayor's Novice at a big price that you put her up. And she has come in for a bit of support, in fairness. Concertista, the rock solid one in the Mayor's hurdle. But we have Damn the Company, Roxana, and Black Tears. It's not a bad race, to be fair, because I think Roxana's improving. Damn the Company, a Coral Cup winner from last year. Concertista has to go and do it now, doesn't she? She's all the ability in the world. It looks like she has. This race is more competitive than I thought it would be when the likes of Benny the Jew, we knew she wasn't going to run. And obviously with Honeysuckle going. So,
yeah, look, I put Black Tears up for the race at 33 to 1. I thought she was a good each way bet at that price. I echo your thoughts in terms of I thought the race was going to cut up more. And I'm a little bit disappointed it hasn't, because I think it's actually a stronger field than I imagined. I was putting this horse up on the kind of thought that this race might end up looking what the Arkles now looking like, where you had 6 or 7 runners. Black Tears might have been 8 to 1, third fav or something. But Roxana being in there puts a bit of a spanner in the works. I think she's obviously a very good mare. I'm still not convinced she's a real Cheltenham mare. I know she has won the Mayor's Hurdle, but geez, Benny the Jew would have beaten her any amount that year if she hadn't fallen at the last, and she was well beaten the race last year. As a result, with Roxana in the race, you're still getting odds against Concertista, and I think that could, by the end of the Mayor's Hurdle, look like a bit of a gift. I thought by now she'd be odds on. I know it's a stronger race perhaps than people thought it might be, but geez, her form is good. Like, I know people want to throw stones at it, but you got to beat what she's beaten. Manila Melody and Black Tears, she threw them out in Leopardstown. They're not bad mares, and I know Roxana brings a good grade 1 form to the table, but I think she's probably a better 3-miler than 2.5-miler these days. I do think she wants a slightly flatter track as a result. So Concertista, I think, will win, and I'm hoping Black Tears can come in the 3.
Some boodles, Andrew Blair-White.
Oh, geez. The Boodle's one of the best Boodles we've ever seen. Like, there's 4 or 5 at the top of the weights that I was saying the other day, 8 out of 10 years, those horses would be running in the Triumph without a question asked. The likes of Nassalam, Hume Dore, St. Sam even. Like, they're all in the bloody Boodles. Like, I quite liked Druid's Altar for the race, but I thought it would be a much worse race than this. And he's gone on a complete barge drift. So I don't know what to make of it. I'd probably play Nassalam. I know I put him up in the Triumph Hurdle. I'd probably play him at 18 to 1. And I'd be concerned and probably will be having a saver on Paul Nicholls' horse in this Who Gree. I think he's just very dangerously handicapped. I don't think that the Mullins horse, St. Sam, I don't think he's as much in hand as people think he does. I'd be willing to take him on at the top of the market, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know we're saying it's a stronger race, and I know you're going to disagree with this one straight away. When you look at form and you look at some of the horses that have run in stronger races, but I just like the profile of Coltor for it. He won at Naas, great track to be winning at if you're going to shape up into a Cheltenham winner. John Joe O'Neill, of course, will already have a winner on the board at this stage, so he'll be riding high in confidence after winning the Supreme. And I just like him. I liked his win at Naas. You know, I thought he grounded out well. He showed a good attitude. Second behind French Seal. Now, I know what you're going to say about that race, that it was the worst maiden run in Ireland, maiden juvenile run in Ireland all year. But I just thought he had a bit of a squeak. Had my eye on him. But as you said, it's a strong Boodles. You couldn't be absolutely certain about anything in here. It's mighty competitive, but he'd be my selection in the race.
He'd want to improve for a bit of better ground. Now he may well do because he's a flatbred horse, but
Free Eagle.
yeah, look, I wouldn't mind actually the second to French Seal, because French Seal could be anything, but it's just the fourth to Curious Bride. Now, Curious Bride's a reserve in this race that you wouldn't be batting an eyelid to, and was beaten 10 or 12 lengths in that race. Jeez. I understood, if he was a bigger price, like if you're getting 16, 20 to 1, I could see, but like he's at 8 to 1, I'd have thought he was a stinking price.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I said that. I said Ernergamine won the worst maiden hurdle of the year last year at Clonmel, which, to be fair, form of which hasn't worked out to be any use. But
coming on to the National Hunt Chase, the 450, which is the last race on the card, all the support has come for Next Destination. But Royal Pagil, obviously, I don't think he's going to win the Gold Cup, so it is disappointing. There was a race here for the taking for him. What's your selection?
Yeah, I think I'm going to play Ascari at 10 in this. I was quite keen on him for the majority of the year if he ran in this. I'm glad they are. I think he shapes like he could be a lovely staying chaser. Second behind a Clad Rear at Naas the last day was a really good run. He jumped for fun. Is ahead of Pencil Full of Lead that day. I think that's not bad form. Next Destination, yes, look, he came third in a Ballymore a couple of years ago to Sam Crow. Like he's got back class, obviously, from his Willie Mullins days. I just would be concerned he's won 2 windy enough grade 2s this year. Is he lacking a little bit for experience over fences? I'm not sure. Galvin's been a long time plot horse for this. Never quite warmed to him. So maybe Ascari at 10. I wouldn't rule out Pipe Source either.
No.
Remaster. I thought he did it well in the Reynolds Down. Again, another horse that shapes like a big staying trip will suit him well. Jumps for fun. So I'd probably play Ascari at 10 and Remastered against the field.
I've nothing more to add. They would be exactly my 2 selections against the field. I think it's interesting. Jamie Codd said that Ascari at 10, most of his form is on soft and heavy, but he thinks he might be better for a bit of better ground. So, he would have interested me in the Ultima, but he interests me even more in this. The fact that, I think Novices do have a good record in it. In the 4-miler, he might have lacked a bit of experience going into the Ultima. So I think at 4 to 1, he's my selection. But as you said, don't rule out Pipe's horse. I couldn't be having that Lord Royal. He's a big gangly horse. I couldn't.
I'd be very surprised if he's not ending up on the deck, to be honest.
He's just awkward.
He looks just a bit ignorant, really, in his runs over fences so far.
Yeah, no, I think Ascari at 10 is going to run a huge race in the National Hunt Chase. Andrew, we're going to rank our top 3 bets to date on the road to Cheltenham Challenge. I'm intrigued.
Well, number 1 probably comes as no surprise to many is Ellie May for the Mayor's Chase at 12 to 1. She's now, I think, 7 to 4, I believe. Annie Mack is now a non-runner as well, which softens the race. She's Colreevy and Shattered Love to beat. She's beaten Shattered Love before. I see no reason to see why that form will be reversed. And I think Colreevy is much better going right-handed. I think she has all the English horses. She's better than the English horses. Like, I know some people are trying to put up Happy Diva against her. I can't see that angle at all. I think she's just a better mare than that. So that's probably number 1. Number 2, Brave Man's Game for the Ballymore, just price-wise, because I put him up at 16s and he's now 11 to 4. It's a good race. Would it overly surprise me if he got beat? Probably not, but I do think that the market's finally realising how good he is. He's now into 11 to 4. He was 7 to 2, 4 to 1 for a few weeks, which I couldn't understand. He's now more like the price of Galar to Manil, so I think that's good. And then I'm humming and hawing. If you wanted a winner, I think Chacun Pour Soi 9 to 2 for the Champion Chase is good. But in terms of price, again, Kashari for the Coral Cup at 25s. Now I think second Fav at 8s. Paul Townend rides. I think there's an awful lot going for him, and I know you've put up Grand Wa at a bigger price as well. And to be honest, I'd say there'll be a few long faces on the road to Cheltenham Challenge if between the 2 of them we're not very, very close.
Yeah, top 3 for me: Andrew Blair-White and Tukas 25 to 1. back on the 4th of the 1st, 2021. Absolutely delighted with that selection. I'd say it'll be a flood of money for him. Biddard is currently favoured for the same yard, but you'd have to think Tukas is going to attract support given connections. I think he's going to go off favourite. I would say my second best selection is actually a shorter price. He's odds on now, but he's a wild card, so he's worth 2, of course, to me. So I think it's 6 points in the bank. I think Monkfish 3-1 was a good play at the time, and I definitely put him in. I'm split between Toriograph and Champ, but I think Champ has an absolute mighty chance in the Gold Cup. He was my next best, which was my default nap of the week because Energy is out on the preview last week, and at 12-1, I think that's a good selection, and I'm confident that we're going to be in the shake-up there at 12-1. So I'll go number 1 in Tukas, number 2 Monkfish, just because it is solid, and number 3 we'll go with Champ at 12-1. Can't forget Concertista, but we only have a point on her. We'll go Monkfish as probably the most important selection, and he is odds on at the moment. That's the selections. We'll run down through the whole selections before giving our selections for week 18.
Yeah, well, as we said earlier, it was a bruising week for my book, certainly. I think 4 non-runners in the last 7 days. Nasalam for the Triumph Hurdle now goes for the Boodles. That's out. Wide receiver, 25-1 any race. Looks super, but now he's out for the season. Shakan Boursois, 9-2 for the Champion Chase. Looks good. Latest exhibition, 16-1 for the RSA, not running. Delvino and Dusart, not running. Brave Man's Game, 16-1 for the Ballymore, as I mentioned earlier, looks pretty strong. Runwell Fred, 10-1 any race. Heartbreak, that was my energamine, Runwell Fred. It came to pass, 12-1 for the Hunter's Chase, would still give him a cracking chance. Aramax isn't going to go. Ellie May, 12-1 for the Mare's Chase. Captain Guinness, 20-1 for the Arkle, which has inherently looks okay now, but that's unfortunate because of one high-profile absentee. Kashari, 25-1 for the Coral Cup, looks decent. Black Tears, 33s for the Mare's Hurdle. She has her each-way chance. A Jas for the cross country, less said the better. Glens of Antrim, 16-1 for the Mare's Novice. I have started an absolute plunge on this Glens of Antrim. I'm convinced. She's now going to go and be like non-entered tomorrow morning or something, but she's into 7-1. Statler, 5-1 for the Bartlett. I put that in last week. I needed to boost the coffers, so I think he has a great chance. The Wildcards, unfortunately, Time Hill out of the Stairs Hurdle. Honeysuckle for the Mare's Hurdle. She now goes champion, and Album Photo, hopefully. And probably I need him more than any time before in the Gold Cup at 3-1.
I'm confident, Andrew Blair-White, you're going to come out in the green. Eldorado Allen, 20-1. Arkle Chase, at least he's declared. That's all I'm going to say about him. Mac Fabulous, that was disappointing. That was week 2 for the Stairs. Appreciated Wrong Race, of course, 12-1 for the Ballymore. I think there's a lot of people who feel my pain with that one. Champ, 12-1, as I said, my third best selection. He was a week 4 selection at 12-1 for the Gold Cup. And Jameen, 10-1. Oh my God. Any race. And week 6, Kescon Risk, 25-1. Wrong race again here. Supreme Novices Hurdle for him. Got them completely the wrong way around. Kescon Risk and Appreciated. He could run a big race in the Ballymore, Kescon Risk. Week 7 was Concertista at 9-2. I think she'll win. Tukas, 25-1. Can see him going off favourite, as I said. I think he will for the Grand Annual. Week 9 was Autumn Evening at 40-1 for the Boodles. It's probably just as well because it looks a tough race, the Boodles this year, as we said. Ramillies for the Champion Bumper at 14-1. He's 12-1 now, and you know Willie Mullins does with the bumper with second and third strings. So Royal Kahala, 8-1 for the Mayor's Novice Hurdle. She was probably unlucky not to make the 3 best bets, to be fair. I think she's 9-2 now, 4-1 in places. So I think she'll run big. And between myself and Andrew with Glens of Antrim, I think we should connect there between the two of us. Third time lucky, 16-1 for the Supreme Novices Hurdle. Second selection for the Supreme, and yeah, it's hard to see. I mean, it's hard to see. She's not running in the race. Bran Roy, 20-1 for the Curl Cup. He was week 13. Another solid selection. He's 7-1 now, so happy with that. Brinkley looks like he's going to run. I think he's 14-1, 12-1 in places for the Pertemps. I think there's a big race in him. Toriograph, 14-1. Albert Bartlett. Delighted with this selection. Again, runs in the race 6-1. So he was unlucky not to make the. Andrew, I have a better book than you have. Goshen.
Oh, much better.
4-1. 4-1. I'm getting excited here. Am I the Ante-Post King and waiting? Champion hurdle, Goshen. Yeah, I think he'll run a cracker. Vindication, and to see this one now. This one really got your juices going last Monday. You didn't, of course, announce your thoughts until Thursday. And apparently I'm going into the Carlow Lake if Vindication doesn't place. I think that was that the deal, or have I just? But I think he'll run an absolute cracker. As I said, big engine, and of course Tyne Hill has come out. That's unlucky for yourself, but Vindication will run a big race. She wears it well, 6-1. She was my first wild card gone. Monkfish, 3-1, second best bet, rock solid, long odds on now to win the Brown Advisory, and. That should go in. And of course, I'm double teamed in the Gold Cup of the wild card. And this would be a pretty big result in fairness in terms of points. A Plutard has to be. You probably think you should be shouting for a Plutard over Champ. I just think Champ is going to go and win the race. But a Plutard again, 9-1. He was a cracking selection, wild card. So that's the book, Andrew. And we're going to give our week 18 selection, and you can go first.
Right, looking to, like, as people will know, the book is somewhat on the floor, and therefore I need to throw a Hail Mary in the sky and hope somebody will catch it. And it comes in the Grand Annual. I'm going to take a second stab at trying to get you beat with Chosen Mate at 14-1 for Denise Foster. Jordan Gainford booked off a mark 156, which looks obviously massive. But when you take Gainford £7 off, he's in effect running only off £2 higher than last year. I think he's been at the jiggery pokery all year, not trying in soft ground. He doesn't really like soft ground, to be fair, but they haven't tried a yard with him either. Back on better ground. I know after he won the Grand Annual last year, I know some people thought he might make up into a champion chase horse this year, which I thought was maybe a little far-fetched, but that just shows you how easily he won the race. I think he's got a massive chance, as I say, with young Gainford on him, who's a serious jock, I believe. He's the next Jack Kennedy on the conveyor belt. And at 14-1, I'm going to try and potentially fail, but I'm going to try foil the Barry Doyle Wise Guys in Tuca's horse. But you actually started the Wise Guys movement on this horse. By putting them up in January, but I'm going to try and foil you with last year's winner, Chosen Mate.
Now, my week 18 selection, Andrew Blair-White. I put up third time lucky for the Supreme Novices Hurdle. And this is third time lucky because I'm going to go and do it. I'm going to go put in Soaring Glory. I mean, I can't have the Road to Cheltenham Challenge starting and not have a horse in the Supreme Novices Hurdle. He's wearing cheek pieces for the first time. I don't think there has been a winner of the Supreme that's wore headgear. That is a big stat, but no, look, very impressive winner. He's going to have to improve an awful lot. I get that, but it is a small field. He travels well. I don't think he's a 1-4-3 horse. Would they have run him in the county hurdle? I just think it's interesting to go here, and was touch and go whether he'd go or not. That's why I didn't put him in last week, believe it or not. And I happened to get Vindication in the team, and he's halved in price. But Soaring Glory goes in. As I said, we only have 8 runners. I think he'll run a massive race. He'll be on the premises, strong traveller. And he's my week 14 selection. And it'll be John Joe O'Neill on. I'll tell you how it'll happen, actually. You'll have Appreciated, it'll be on the Gert of Metier. He'll probably have a front runner that'll lead him to the third. I don't know, one of those rags at bigger prices. They'll come over the second last. Appreciated will jump to the front. I'd say Soaring Glory will actually hit the second last coming down. He might make a mistake. He's not the most natural jumper. And I just think he's a huge engine. Everyone will think that Appreciate's going to go and win, and John Joe will sit back up on the bridle, turn into the straight, and I think he'll I think he'll get past Appreciated up the run in. So that's my thoughts. Week 18 section. But Andrew Blair-White, because it is the last episode of the Road to Cheltenham Challenge for this season, we're going to put in 2 selections for week 18.
Yeah, well, we certainly need to get me a runner or two.
You talked me into that, Andrew, did you? You're trying to rig this.
Well, considering I had, to be fair, 4 non-runners in the week leading up to Cheltenham, like, you can't get any worse luck than that. But yes, no, I cajoled you into giving me another selection, and it's coming in the county hurdle. There's a couple of horses well fancied for this. Third time lucky, Ganapathy. Wouldn't put you off any of them. But I'm silently quite confident on Tristan Davis' horse in this, Gowl Road, who was a late scratch from the Supreme. I thought he actually might run in the Supreme, and I wouldn't have put it past him running a big race at a big price. You can get 16 to 1 about him for the county off a mark of 137. He's already jocked up with Sam Tristan Davis on board, so I assume, I'm praying to the gods that this is where they're going to go. It's his only entry in the later part of the week. It's obviously not declared earlier in the week. I think he's got a massive chance in this off 137. There is a bit of money around for him. It wouldn't surprise me to see him shorten up even more. He beat Good Ball, who's not a bad horse, at Paul Nicholls by 5 lengths at Newbury the other day. He had good form tied in with Bear Gills earlier in the season as well at Fastlass. I think he's a rapidly improving horse. 137 is by no means the bottom of his ability. And I think at 16 to 1, a little county hurdle winner wouldn't do too badly for the Road to Cheltenham Challenge.
Yeah, I'm really going to try put this competition to bed. The horse hasn't been declared, and he's entered in the county hurdle as well. But one of my favourite races of the festival, Andrew, is the Martin Pipe. And I'm going to go this race on the final day, the last day of the meeting. This is, if Andrew Blair-White is on the premises, I'm going to put him to bed in here in a race that he fancied wide receiver in all season. Galloping des Champs. 10 to 1. He has the ideal profile for it, in my view. Yeah, interesting. I actually put up Gabby Nacco as a selection for this race on the season preview. But the more time has gone on, the more I've warmed to this Galloping des Champs. He's on the premises, as we say, on the exchanges as well. He hasn't been declared. Looks like this is where he is going. In fact, he's obviously, 2 miles, 4 furlongs and a half up. Like this, this horse has been running over 2 miles. He's not a 2-miler. He's a staying horse. He's gonna stay going. He'll run to the line. He's come from France originally, has a strange enough pedigree by Timos. He's only a 5-year-old. He's in here off a mark of 142. So he's not low in the weights, but it was interesting. I like that race that he ran at Gorn with C. Decor, and he's come out since, obviously, and won of Arthur Moores. It was on heavy ground. All his running has been on softer surfaces, but at 100 to 1 at Leopardstown behind Appreciated last time, I thought he ran an absolute cracker. Mikey Fogarty rode him that day, and the way he travelled into the straight, he just got done for a bit of toe. He travelled well the whole way around. He obviously has a decent enough cruising speed. I just think 2 miles up in trip, similar to Sir Deschamps. I think Galloping des Champs. He's a chaser for the future, but I think he's going to go well in here. He's the one that's going to put the nail in your coffin, and the Ante-Post King will be crowned on Friday. Hopefully he'll be crowned long before then. I know, Andrew, in all seriousness, I wish you the best of luck for the week. It's been a fantastic series. We've had great fun. We've had Sunday nights where we've been studying the form book for the Monday shows, and it's been great right throughout the year. Everyone that's got involved as well, thanks very much. That's all we can say. And I think when I text you this, I think I left you a voice message last night, Andrew. You said you were welling up.
Oh, well, you sent me this highly emotional voice message about the end of this series and how it was great and all this. Jeez, I was in tears. The emotions were high as it was, let alone were you doing that. But no, it's been brilliant. It's been absolutely brilliant. And as I said earlier, please God, we can come back to the well next year and do it all again. because it's been great, especially in lockdown. It's been a nice little thing to take the mind away on the majority of Mondays, scrolling through the markets, trying to find something. And the last thing I can just hope for is that the two of us come out of the week washing our face with these selections.
I'm confident we'll get out alive. I am. I think we have enough in there. We've enough bullets, as they say. And, if a Kashari or a Granois was to come out on top in the Coral Cup, I think it would set one of us up pretty nicely. So plenty of selections in there. We can't wait for the week. And Andrew, I guess we're going to just have to say to everyone, the very best of luck.